You joined the Bills in '62. What did you know about the Bills when they drafted you? Did you have a sense of the team itself, or just you're glad to be drafted?
Well, first of all, I was not drafted.
Oh, really?
No, I was a free agent.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything about the Bills.
Yeah.
I knew about Coach Saban, Joe Collier, Red Miller. They all coached me at Western Illinois University.
Okay,
So that's that connection. In fact, I was going to Boston, but Saban got fired and ended up in Buffalo. And that's how I ended up in Buffalo.
It's following Saban, really.
Following Saban. In fact, I had basically signed a contract with the Patriots, but they held on to it because I was going to be playing baseball that spring for the college. And back in those days, you couldn't play college sports and have signed a professional contract with anybody. And so they held on to the contract. And then Saban got fired, and they wanted to know what I wanted to do. And I just told them to tear up the contract and send me another one when you get to where you're going. Not understanding that, what if you hadn't went nowhere else? But I'm quite sure I'd have been all right.
Well, you had quite a first year.
That's what they say anyway, you know. It showed up that way.
You had 6 interceptions,
And
all-rookie team?
All-rookie team. I think I was a runner-up to Tom Sistak as Rookie of the Year, which Tom Sistak, as we all know, was an outstanding defensive lineman.
As you go through that team, I'm just going to throw out a couple of names just for reaction purposes. Cookie Gilchrist. What's Cookie Gilchrist mean to Booker Edgerson?
A lot. You know, he basically taught me how to be a stronger person, a man of substance. There was a lot of things I didn't like about Cookie, but there was 3 times as many things that I loved about Cookie. And so we became very good friends, roommates, all that stuff.
What was he like as a roommate? I mean, I see a big hulking guy who...
Well, he was really something else. He and Monty Crockett and myself, we had a apartment together in my first year, my rookie year, and it was really crazy. He had the outside room, and Monty had an outside room, and I had the middle room. And Cookie loved down-home music, low-down blues music, and Monty loved jazz, and I was basically a rock and roller, rhythm and blues, and by me being in the middle of the rooms, I had to listen to all their music all the time because they was playing it. And so it gave me a lot of appreciation, not only for music, but appreciation to those guys giving me an opportunity to be a man.
He was older than you guys.
Oh, yes, absolutely. He was Cookie about 4 or 5 years older. But the years wasn't as big as his experience, because he came right out of high school and went right into professional football and everything. So he had a lot of experience dealing with older people, and so it gave me an opportunity to learn from him. Ernie Warlick was another one. Tom Day really took me in, and when I first came to Buffalo, and we really had a lot of good sessions together. Will Fowler, another one. Mm-hmm. He's an original Buffalo Bill. Okay. And so they was just good to me. When I came to Buffalo, it was just like being in my hometown, Rock Island, Illinois.
Well, you're a terrific team. I mean, it didn't take you long to establish yourself as an all-pro.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I just felt like football was a natural for me. You know, baseball was too, and that's where I really, as they say, I really should have played baseball instead of football. However, there was more games in baseball. It was like 154 games at that particular time, as opposed to 14 football games. The money was a little different, wasn't that much difference, but for the games you had to play, it was a lot difference. And in baseball, you don't necessarily automatically make the first string or anything of that nature. And I was a third baseman, and I was going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals if I'd have went with any team. Mm-hmm. And Ken Boyer was the third baseman at St. Louis, and they probably would have sent me down to the minors, or I would have had to go out and play outfield. So, right. So I chose football.
As you look back on some highlights, Booker Edgerson, what are a couple of those that you say, Greg, let me tell you about these?
Well, all of them was highlights because just playing the game, it was just every game was different, every play, because you had to look at the overall game plan, whether it was a running play or whether it was a passing play or whether it was just a play to keep you busy. But obviously, dealing with the pass was the most important aspect of the game, and being able to read the receivers and do, and cover them in a manner to keep you from getting beat, which back in those days with the AFL, it was just like the MTV of football. I mean, everything was fast. That's what they built their reputation on, speed. And that's what the fans like, and that's why, to me, I really, when the teams merged, I really didn't like that, because I thought that the AFL was really going to come out to be the top league anyway, because people didn't like that little slow football, 3 downs, 2 downs, and a cloud of dust. It was boring. The NFL was a boring league. So, but being a defensive back, dealing with a lot of fast individual receivers, I mean, it made it very, very tough and very difficult. But the best thing is that we had the bump and run. Yeah. And that neutralized me as a defensive back, and I think a lot of backs as a corner, is that it neutralized the receiver, because you was able to get up and bump and run and hold them up and make sure that you knew what they was doing, because when you study the game films, you knew on certain downs and plays that this is what they was going to do. You also know whether you was to the short side of the field or long side of the field, and the opportunity for them to run a post pattern or a streak or whatever it may be. And that's the nature of looking at films. So it keeps you on your toes and keeps you, and I always try to play smart football. I wasn't one of those guys that went out there and tried to hurt somebody. I was not a physical football player.
You were a left cornerback, but did you find yourself playing man-to-man on certain receivers? They, like Lance Allworth of the world, did they say, Booker, you got him today?
Well, when I started out, I was on the right side.
Okay.
And that's the right side is a lot easier than the left side, because the left side is usually the strong side, and that's where they run to most of the time. That's where they pass to, because the quarterbacks are right-handed. Right. And so everything went to that side. But no, I didn't start out thinking that that Lance Allworth or Don Maynard or whoever it may be was the most dangerous people in the world. I basically looked at the game film, figured out the things they did the best and when they did it, and I just tried to counteract it with my speed and my ability to play the game of football. And fortunately, it proved to be very good. Yes, people say, well, it's funny. People always tend to see the worst of whatever it was, Oh, yeah, I saw you on TV the other day, and Don Maynard beat you for a touchdown. I want to say, well, what about the ones that he didn't beat me for? But you just can't say that, because that's what people see and that's what they say. And I know what I did and know what I don't do, and I know I thought I played a very good game of football, and it was forceful at times. But hey, it was good. I enjoyed it.
We had 23 interceptions and a couple for a touchdown, including Joe Namath. And then what I remember is the one against the Bengals in the blizzard. It was a 1969 game. You forced and returned a fumble for a deciding score in the '69 game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Played in the blizzard conditions.
Very blizzard. You couldn't even see the sidelines. You couldn't see the 5-yard markers and 10-yard markers and everything. They had people coming out after every play almost, shoveling snow off to those 5 and 10-yard markers and everything, so the quarterback could see where they were. That fumble interception, as they call it, it was actually a fumble. And it was just luck, you know. I went in there and I slid into the guy and I backed around. I had the ball in my hand and his hands too. And I guess it was slippery and it just pulled it away from his hand and I just took it in for a touchdown. It was a weird situation, but we won. It was cold. It was very cold that day. And snow didn't help at all.
You wrote the foreword to the most recent book out on Cookie Gilchrist. I just noticed this here. The cookie did not crumble. What did you say about Cookie Gilchrist?
Well, some of the things I just said earlier about him, that he was instrumental in my life. You know, a lot of things. But Cookie was a complex individual in those days. What he did back in those days, they wouldn't even mention it now with the things that goes on with these ball players now, what happens, what's going on. I mean, he was all about the money. You know, that's what he stated. He said, look, you know, you're paying me to play, and I'm playing my heart out, and I'm doing certain things, and so pay me. And that was the biggest ruckus about Cookie in most cases. He refused to keep his mouth shut. He wanted to be paid equally as opposed to, you know, a quarterback. You know, those days, quarterbacks was always getting the most dollars and everything. But he said, hey, without me, the quarterback wouldn't have opportunity to throw the ball anyway. So what is he going to do? He said, I run the ball, I catch the ball, I kick extra points, I kick field goals. You know, he said, if necessary, I'll play defense, which he did play up in Canada. You know, he played linebacker and he played a little bit of defensive back. I mean, he was a very versatile ball player, football player. But most of all is he had a dynamic personality. I used to love to listen to him talk a lot of times, you know, and you know, he makes comparison to other folks and other things. And he made a lot of sense. But at some times he just didn't know when to stop and move on to another subject because he was dwelled on something too long, and then it became a problem. But the things that Cookie did in those days is nothing to what these guys do today. With the things they do out there today, the trouble they get into, as Cookie always said, you know, I didn't get put in jail for raping no one. I didn't get put in jail for murdering no one. I didn't get put in jail for marijuana. I didn't get put in jail for cocaine, heroin. He said, I was just an ordinary guy asking for the money that I should get.
Did you stay close to him towards the end?
Yeah, we was roommates during the whole time we played football, and we stayed close. We had our moments. He fell out, as I always used to tell him. I said, Cookie, I am your friend, but you are not my friend, because when things didn't go right, he would not call me. He would not do anything, you know. And I just tell. And then as soon as something he needed something, then he'll call me and say, hey, I need this and I need that, you know. And I was always there. But I understood that. It was just like a brother, you know. All brothers don't always get along together. But when it comes down to the bare essentials, you do what you got to do. And that means that you accommodate him. And he was always cordial. He was always good. the animosity, which I understood, because it wasn't about me or certain people. It was just about how he was treated in football, and not getting paid and not getting the respect from different individuals as he thought, that they treated him unfairly. The press was tough on him. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a story. One of the things he did was they asked him about interviews. He said, how much are you going to pay me for an interview? And the media said, well, we don't pay for interviews. And he said, well, then you don't get one. He said, because you know what's going to happen? He said, when I'm dead and gone, you'll be showing that interview, and I won't be getting anything, but your company will be receiving some residuals from it. And it made a lot of sense. You know, and he said, hey, I'm just not going to do it unless you go pay me for it. Yeah. That was him. Yeah. You know, you don't hear that these days, do you?
No, not at all.
You know, I wouldn't be here doing this interview right now if I felt like him, right?
Probably not, yeah. I had to pay $3 to McGuire for a beer.
Okay, then I want mine for my Maker's Mark then, okay?
Okay, exactly.
Yeah, okay, good. I'll go along with that, you know.
You've been such a community-minded guy. I mean, you've been really giving back much more to Buffalo than Buffalo ever gave to you, and for that I salute you. I mean, you're an incredible individual, Booker. You really are.
Well, that's up to you and other folks to judge. I disagree with you on that I gave so much back to Buffalo more than they gave to me, because if that was true, I would not be here in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Buffalo has been, Western New York has been great, you know. It's just like my hometown, Rock Island, Illinois. Buffalo is just a big Rock Island, Illinois. There's a lot of great people here. It's a great community, and that's one of the reasons why I chose to stay here. And if helping people in the community is what I'm supposed to do, then that's what I do. And it's not that I'm doing it just to be helping people in Buffalo. It's because I believe it's my destiny to do these things. And plus I need something to do anyway to keep me busy.
Yeah. Well, does it surprise you that of all of the Bills players, certainly of your era, who stayed here?
Well, in a way, yes, and in a way, no. If you take a look at a lot of players who have stayed here, they have married women who live here.
Point well taken.
So that's why they stayed here. I don't know if I'd have stayed here if I hadn't got married to a woman from here. Mm-hmm. You know, I'd have probably been off to wherever, who knows what. I don't think I'd have stayed in Buffalo, and it has no reflection on the people of Buffalo and Western New York. It's just that I had someone to keep me here, and we had to work on off season because we wasn't compensated that much in terms of playing football. You know, when people say, well, you know, you guys made big bucks and everything, and that's not true. And it wasn't about the bucks. It was about being able to play a game that you enjoyed, but you also made a few dollars to take care of yourself and your family. But that's one of the reasons that I stayed in Buffalo. Like I said, Buffalo to me is like my hometown, Rock Island, Illinois. It's just you know, we got a whole bunch of mud kickers here that I enjoy being around. Yeah. It's my pleasure being here for Van. You know, he's going on the wall. I don't know if they're going to put him next to my name on the wall. So maybe I do have something to say about Van. Do not put Van's name next to my name on the wall. No, just joking. But I mean, he's the voice of the Buffalo Bills. You know, I know Rick Azar and John Murphy and a few other people have been a part of that, but Van Miller is the voice of the Buffalo Bills. It will always be the voice of the Buffalo Bills.
You're the voice of the Buffalo Bills NFL alumni. I mean, you're the guy.
Well, I don't know if I'm the guy now, but I got a great bunch of guys that I'm working with that provide me the opportunity to do the things in the community that we try to do, and try to make sure that the underprivileged are funded through some of our charitable events to make their lives a lot better.
Thank you very much. This is great. Thanks, Booker.
Thank you, Ray.